So, hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Turn 5 podcast, where we will be previewing the sprint weekend of Formula One at the Austrian Grand Prix. Yes, the sprint races are back. Woo!
That's
Which
the
means
most
we've.
someone's been enthusiastic about a sprint race.
Hey, look, I'm still holding out hope for this new format. Okay, last time I said it was just the circuit that was the issue. This time, it's Austria. Shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm hoping it should be better.
we've had some stinky races at Austria.
We have, but we've also had a race where 9 people didn't finish.
yeah. Austria 2020 says hello.
Admittedly,
Yeah.
that was the first race of the season,
I think reliability.
And they'd also had like
and it was a bit of a truncated
8
season.
months off.
But still.
What a return to Formula One that was.
That was brilliant.
That was my
And there's
beginning
another
to-
one off. And
That was
there's
my
another...
beginning to Formula One. That was my first F1 race.
What was the like
F1.
4 safety cars or something as well?
It really set my hopes up high for the rest of the races.
To be fair, the
Oh.
2020 season was actually pretty good when you think about it.
away
They're-
from Mercedes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There weren't many, but even then, the races were good. I wouldn't say there were many bad races in 2020.
Let's say the reason we nostalgically look at 2020 is because of the midfield battle between Renault, McLaren,
Yeah.
and Racing Point.
Mm.
And
And
those-
watching Ferrari go completely
Yeah.
backwards.
and
That was
seeing
hilarious.
Ferrari in the middle of nowhere, being like, "Why are they back there?
Yeah, didn't they
How
finish
are
like
they doing so
7th?
bad?"
6th.
6th, yeah.
And even then, that's because Charles drove the wheels off of it.
In some cases, literally.
Yeah,
That was Kimi. That was Kimi in Austria 2020. Safety car comes in, Kimi's wheel, bye.
There were times where Charles didn't have wheels on his car as well. But anyway,
Yeah,
we're not here for 2020. We're here for this week's stuff.
yes.
The news.
Which is?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
god,
yeah.
have you guys not heard?
wow.
Ryan Reynolds
From-
just purchased a classic 24% stake in Alpine.
Oh, that news. Oh, yeah.
Well, among other
I think,
news.
oh, that news.
I read that this morning. It was quite surprising.
200 million euro backing. It's a group of investors, we should say. It's not just Ryan Reynolds, but Ryan Reynolds is among the group of investors that has just bought almost a quarter of the Alpine Formula One team.
Can we say, though, at least they dropped this news at a reasonable time and
Yeah.
not
On a
like the last
Monday.
piece of big news that dropped at like 2 in the morning. But, huh?
And
What's
on
going
a
on here?
Monday,
And on a Monday, yeah.
I'd also like to point out that the F1 posted an article about it, obviously, and they mentioned the investor group and all the other teams they've worked with, and they mentioned Wrexham, the English football team.
Oh,
It's Welsh.
Yeah.
Is it Wrexham playing the English football pyramid, though?
The group
That
have
might
worked
be why.
with the group have worked with NFL side Dallas Cowboys, America's NFL, French Football Club,
Whatever.
yeah, whatever, and English football
Well,
team
let's see what
Wrexham
this French
AFC.
football club is.
Yeah, I'm just
Ooh.
looking. How far down the article? Oh, Toulouse. Come on. It's Toulouse.
I didn't want to risk
Oh
it.
my god.
I've not read the article, so.
I was pissed. I am pissed. It
I
wouldn't.
get that. But
I
they're
wouldn't mind it if they said British football team, but it's a Welsh team.
English is.
It's
that's
a Welsh
no-go.
team. It's a goddamn Welsh team. Oh,
As I say, I think they've only made that mistake perhaps because they play in the English football pyramid.
Yeah, but there's a little something called due diligence that you should be doing
Yeah.
before you post an article.
And to be fair, Formula One is based in the UK. So they should know these things.
and considering the fact Ryan Reynolds has been in Wales a lot, and for like one of his Netflix films had Welsh subtitles, and I think now was it Maximum Effort? His something he owns. They're doing a Welsh channel or something. You'd think maybe do a bit of research.
You'd like to think.
Oh yeah, I'd really love to think, but clearly not.
But yeah, perhaps this will see Alpine move further up the pecking order. We will
I hope
see.
not. I don't want to see Otmar anywhere near the top.
What's wrong with Otmar?
He's a racing point.
We got beef in it.
Yeah.
Ben's got beef.
How
with
dare
Otmar.
he stand up to Zach Brown?
What did he do at Racing Point that's annoyed you so much?
Copy the Mercedes.
Pink Mercedes.
Valid.
Apart from the pink
He is.
Mercedes.
Let Lance Stroll have a drive.
To be fair, I think Otmar was more told that Lance Stroll would have a drive.
He's alright, Otmar.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy. It's always nice when he comes on Sky because he just calls a spade from the pit wall.
And it's
None of
different
this.
Christian Horner.
Yeah, none of this Formula One politics. He just goes, yeah, it's a bit in it. We're having a bad
Wasn't he-
race.
Wasn't he on the pit wall when Alonso and Ocon were fighting at Saudi Arabia?
I think so.
Yeah. Because then Crofty went over to him like, yeah, I hope they stop doing this.
Yeah, no, he's a good guy. Good guy. Anyway, was there any other news?
Ricardo to AlphaTauri is apparently a genuine option for 2024.
No, thank you.
I'd rather see him on the grid than not, so I'll take it. But I'd rather
So-
see him back in the Red Bull instead of one Sergio Perez. So
I feel like you're probably more likely to see Yuki in the Red Bull now.
Yeah.
And then you
Speaking
could
of
get Lawson.
Yuki, he's meant to drive a race-winning Honda at the Nordschleife.
it's the
12 hours in Nürburgring event.
GT3 event.
That's it, yeah.
That's what he's driving.
It's like a show, sharing show on duties with Daniel Ricciardo and Sebastian Vettel.
September 9th? Because I didn't
Yes.
actually get the date last time
Send
round.
send Daniel Ricciardo to Formula E and he can become a world champion.
Like, don't you
Oh
dare
my
slander
God.
Daniel Ricciardo like
We've
that.
been through this. We said Formula E is for the washed F1 drivers.
Danny's not there yet.
I think if
He's close.
He's close.
I think
Not
he's
yet.
I think he's had his run in Formula One and it's just
I think
Yeah, but
if he hasn't gone to IndyCar, I don't think he'll go to Formula E. Because I would see Daniel going to IndyCar more likely than Formula
I thought you
E.
were going to be like, because he has standards.
As Roman Grosjean's fighting for wins. And Marcus Ericsson is winning.
That tells you everything you need to know.
I don't know. I think Danny's still got some years in him. Like, look at the tail end of Seb's career. Like, last season at Ferrari, he was literally nowhere. You could have been like, oh, his career's finished. And he went to Aston Martin and put Lance Stroll on a plate.
that is Lance Stroll though.
Still got to put
You
your
go into a
teammate on
team
plate.
that the other driver's dad owns the team
Yeah.
and does everything in his power to make his son do better, including the race strategy, and you still wipe the floor with him. They've now learnt from that mistake and know that they cannot stop Alonso from beating him, so they just let Alonso get on with it.
Yeah, and they let Alonso to be like giving feedback and be like the dad of the career. Lance is
Let's
gonna be
point out, though,
future
that-
champion.
As I say, it is Lance Stroll. Alonso was nearly 100 points ahead of Stroll.
I mean, he did have a broken hand or whatever at the start of the season.
Yeah, that's
So,
fair.
Broken wrist.
Which he almost broke again at turn 4 of the first lap of the first race.
But that's
Yeah.
one race.
Yeah, but still.
What would have happened if Lance actually torpedoed Alonso out of that race?
Carnage.
Yeah. Would it still be the same now?
PR down the drain. Alonso throws his contract in the garbage.
Yeah, as a,
Shock return to F1 for Daniel Ricciardo.
and then the Aston
It
Martin.
makes
But yeah, no, I don't know. I think you look at Danny Rick at Renault, and he had a couple of good races, but he wasn't great. You look at Danny Rick in McLaren, he was just nowhere.
He won a
And
race.
yet he won.
I think he's had his time.
No.
Not yet.
We were all talking at the tail end of his McLaren run that was it.
No. Time
No,
off.
it was saying that
Sweetens,
was it in
sweetens
McLaren.
everything.
He could easily get in
He's
another
coming
car
back.
and smash it out of the park.
Oh, yes.
No. Nia's a realist.
yeah, I don't think he could. He could maybe be like at the same pace as oh dear, he's got the mic to his face.
Get on the hype train.
No.
And I think if he went back to Red Bull, he would be massacred.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, I mean, Perez is not doing much better, is he?
Yeah.
Everyone that goes to Red Bull gets massacred. It's the job description.
I think the best
Yeah.
Daniel could do would be match his teammate, not throw him at the park.
Mm.
Like,
But it depends who his teammate is.
Exactly. But that's my point still stands.
Let's talk about the Austrian Grand Prix. Shall we just do our predictions?
sure.
Okay, so as it is a sprint weekend, there is, of course, bonus predictions. So let's start off with the normal one, pole position. Now, for clarity, for perhaps our new viewers, this is pole position in primary qualifying, which will take place on the Friday, and means they start in first place on the Sunday.
Unless they have a penalty.
Yeah, unless they get a penalty, but... Richard, pole,
Max.
Nia,
Max.
Ben,
Max.
and we are all in agreement once again. It's now time for the sprint poll, which will be held on the Saturday morning. Nia,
Max.
Richard,
Max.
Ben,
Max.
and again, we're all in agreement.
Surprise,
Who'd have thought?
surprise.
Next up in the weekend is the sprint race. No, sorry. F1 doesn't call it that. It's just the sprint. Who's going to win? Ben,
Max.
Richard,
Max.
Max.
Nia, and we're all in agreement. And finally, in terms of on-track positions, is the race. Your podium, please, Nia.
Max. Alonso Sainz.
Richard,
Verstappen, Hamilton, Alonso.
Ben,
Verstappen, Alonso, Russell.
I'm going to go with Verstappen, Alonso, Hamilton.
Okay.
And now it's time for the polls predictions. Ben, can we have yours, please?
I'm going to say Verstappen to not win one of the poles, sprint, or podium because we've all said Verstappen to win one. So someone's
So
going
you're
to jinx him.
self-sabotaging.
Yeah.
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 So basically, he's not going to be on the
So,
top step
I
at
don't-
one point this weekend. Is
Yeah.
what you're saying.
I don't know who the jinx is, but there's going to be a jinx.
It's you.
Well,
But no, I suppose he's covering himself off.
Yeah, I know.
Because
It's cheeky, but
Yeah, he's guaranteed at least a point.
somewhere.
Yeah. Richard,
Hadn't really thought about this, to be honest. Can you tell I really hadn't thought about it? Because I'm struggling to find any kind of inspiration.
Now you know how I feel every week.
Yeah, but you just spit the same out every week. Or would you like me to remind you of your previous ones?
Go on then. So I can change mine this week if it's similar.
Well, we'll start with the first race of the season. We said both Alfa Romeos in the points. And then you said both Williams in the points. And then you said both Alpha Tauris in the points. And then you changed it up for once and said Lance top 5. And then you
But that's
changed it up
basically
again
still
and
just
said
saying
no more
someone
than
in the
2 yellow
points.
flags. And then you said both McLaren's top 8. And that race was rained off. So you went, you know what, I'll just do that again. And then you tried something different and it didn't pay off. And then you went back to your yellow flags again, but this time at least instead of no more than. So I could have put a bet on before I'd said anything that you were either going to say both of a team in top the points or a position or something to do with yellow flags. At least I try and mix it up.
Can I just do unexpected DNF again?
No.
Oh,
Yellow
God.
card. Descent.
Just for saying it.
Yeah.
Which do you go? No, Chris, you go. That's it.
No, you're next.
No.
You're next. On you go. Come on.
No.
Yeah.
You go.
We've chosen you. You've been selected. What's your
No.
bold prediction?
You're the host. You can.
I know
you can
mine
go
though.
second. You can go second
Well,
for
if
once.
you know
'cause you
yours,
never
then
put yourself first.
spill it.
Man, it's Alonso to overtake Perez in the driver's standings.
Let's give Nia so much time to think of a prediction.
And she still doesn't have one.
Oh.
Richard, do you have yours?
I will go for across the qualifying, the sprint shootout, the sprint, and the Grand Prix that the top 3 will not be the same in any of them.
So no duplicate top 3s in any of the 4 sessions. Okay.
Yeah. Practice scrapped. There's only one practice session.
Yeah.
But, just
Go on, add it in. There's only one
No.
practice session.
No, I'm not adding it in. Practice doesn't mean anything here.
Double points for practice.
Okay, yeah, I'll roll with that.
Go
If you add in practice, we'll give you 2 points if it comes up.
Okay.
Whee!
I
So
swear to God. I swear to God.
2
if
points
that-
or none.
It's going to be the top 3 in practice is going to end up being the top 3 at the race, and everything else in between is going to be different. So I'm going to think it's going to be on, and then my hopes and dreams are going to be crushed in the last.
Well, come on, Nia.
Listen, we've been doing this for 3 years. I am running out of inspiration, as you can tell.
We all manage to come up with one every week.
But you say it's been 3 years.
It's been 2 years and
2 years.
3 months.
Predictions of bold
It's our
predictions.
3rd season
just
doing this.
Unexpected DNF. Unexpected DNF. Unexpected DNF.
Have I told you guys how much I hate this part of the podcast?
No.
No, I just thought it was that you hated Chris.
Fine. Okay. I've got one from my friend Cameron, because he's the only one who would reply. He said Alpine get a podium.
Did you
So I-
text somebody to get your bold prediction?
Yes.
Have you made him sign a disclaimer to use his visage on the podcast?
Cameron, will you let us use your picture on the podcast?
Bit late now.
You can cut it out.
Alpine podium, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
That's actually probably better than anything you'd have given us.
Yes, yeah.
Up, down, showdown.
For reference, there are 71 laps at the upcoming Grand Prix. I'm going to go De Vries 31.
Okay. Ben?
De Vries 37-1. Just saying there's 71 laps as well.
It's almost like I just said that.
Did you? Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry. I apologize.
I will go for. Who's worse?
Is this you choosing between De Vries and Sargent?
Yeah. Sergeant. I'm feeling like it's going to be a really rapid Red Bull weekend. You know.
Yeah, but
I'm
there are...
feeling like it's going to come quick. But then
Oh,
again,
that's what you're talking about.
The Williams is quick in a straight line, but there's high-speed corners and they're not good at those. So I'm thinking we're going to shoot low. We're going to say 28 and 2 laps down.
I'm going to go with Sargent. 32. 1 lap down. Actually, no, 2 laps down. 2 laps down. Also, we have permission from Cameron, and he has his own prediction as well as the other one he said.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But it's for next race.
Oh.
Alonso or
Oh,
Sainz
so
win the next
that's
race.
next week then.
Yes, but he said Alonso or Sainz win the next race.
Well, screenshot that and bring it up next week
Yeah.
when we talk about Britain.
If I remember.
That brings us to the end of that conversation about that particular race. We now go live to our Formula E correspondent, Nia, to talk about the news from Formula E.
We're keeping up
That
with
is
Formula
the
E.
Formula E news.
Yeah. I haven't been keeping up. I only found out the news from Richard telling me, so.
That's why we called you out.
Yeah.
Like a plastic Formula E fan.
I forget
As
it's on.
plastic as the cars. I mean, what?
Nia's going to an E Prix and is giving us
No.
really cutting edge insights on the championship so far.
Who's
Anyway.
actually winning?
I don't know.
No,
I genuinely haven't been keeping up with it at all. The only race I know that's on is the one I'm going to. Jake Dennis is winning with 154 points, followed by Nick Cassidy with 153, and Pascal Wehrlein in third with 138.
Some really cutting edge insights here.
Yeah. Anyway, the main news comes out of Formula E. DS Penske gets punished €25,000.
Kiss bunny.
Punished. Now I'm reading an article and that's what it said.
off with their heads.
It says, right, I'm reading an article about it because
Did they not do their homework or something? You've been very naughty, DS Penske.
The title is DS Penske gets record Formula E punishment for pit lane scanner. There you are, that's the news.
It wasn't only a €25,000 fine, it was also that both of their drivers had to start the race from the pit lane.
Yeah.
At least they weren't disqualified.
Well, Jev was less than pleased. He's hit out at the FIA over the...
Jev is never pleased.
No,
It's
exactly.
Jev.
I think it's because he was technically within an outside chance of the title before the race. And because he only finished 11th and didn't score any points, he's now out of title contention.
Well, maybe his team shouldn't have cheated.
Yeah, quite.
Like,
Well, McLaren got away with it in like 2008, 2007. So
Well, they didn't. They got slapped with $100 million in fines.
still got the titles.
well, no, they were disqualified in 2007.
Yeah, but Hamilton still won the drivers, didn't he?
No.
Jeff won.
No, Hamilton won 2008 drivers.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, but that was like
But
after.
still-
It was 2007. They got found
Yeah,
out.
but they still got all of the stuff from 2007 built onto it, didn't they?
True. But still, 2008 was Crashgate year.
Yeah.
I love that.
And which Felipe Massa's couldn't believe when that came out. Like, oh, Felipe Massa's apparently going to appeal Crashgate. No, he's not.
No.
Like, he's just not. Because if Crashgate got appealed, that would reopen the Abu Dhabi can of worms, and we don't want that.
Go even further back than that. I'd reopen like the '94 Schumacher in Adelaide taking out Hill, and all
Yeah.
of the other Senna and Prost crashes.
What do you mean by
and-
taking out Hill?
I mean, accidental coming together
Right.
that resulted in a DNF or
Yeah.
two.
Schumacher fan taken out. Shocking.
Didn't he do it again as well?
Yeah, and he got disqualified from that World Championship.
He got
And
the
then he
actual
tried-
punishment, that one.
Then he tried to do it again in qualifying in Monaco and just parked it at the Rascas.
That was
Fair.
iconic, and I will not hear anything against it. Okay,
Wasn't he disqualified again?
I think he was just disqualified from quali.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like
No,
he
well,
got
that's not the whole
disqualified
World
again.
Championship, is it?
Yeah, but there's a difference between manipulating one session and trying to manipulate the entire World Championship.
Hey, one session is all you need for a World Championship.
Abu Dhabi 2021 says hello.
All of the last one deciders say hello.
Hmm.
Senna, Prost, Prost, Senna, Schumacher, Hill, Hill, Schumacher,
Um,
Lewis Hamilton, Felipe Massa.
yeah, but
Seb
that at
Vettel.
least Lewis Hamilton, Felipe Massa wasn't controversial. To be fair,
Timo Glock.
is that Glock? That Glock going slowly.
It was.
Didn't
It's a conspiracy.
Didn't they make
It's
Felipe
Toyota.
Massa watch that back at the
Probably.
Brazilian Grand Prix last year? I think they did. Him and Timo Glock sat and watched it or something. I'm like, what's going on here?
If I was Glock, I'd probably have never gone back to Brazil for fear of my life.
Is that Glock? Is that Glock? Well, no, it wouldn't be Timo's fault. It should be his senior race engineer that would never go back to Brazil.
Any of them from the team.
Mm.
Toyota withdraws from the Brazilian Grand Prix. Oh, God. Right. I think we're about done, aren't we? I don't have any other news.
Yeah.
I've just got Sonia's predictions.
Huzzah!
Pole, Verstappen. Sprint shootout winner of Verstappen. Sprint winner of Verstappen. Podium, Verstappen, Russell, Alonso.
Most intriguing. But yeah, that wraps up this week's episode of the Turn 5 podcast. Join us next week where we'll be reviewing the Austrian Grand Prix and previewing Silverstone, our home race. Woo. And yeah, that is about it. So we will see you. Oh yeah, and next week we'll also be talking about Formula 2 and Formula 3 from Austria because they're there this weekend. So much motorsport, so little time. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. We will see you next week. Ta-ra for now.
Join me on Thursday on Twitch. I'll be playing F1. Bye.